Hey there, fellow coders. Welcome to another video in the Apache Airflow MWAA series. Today we are going to be using Pulumi to set up all the infrastructure we would need to run our DAG on AWS. Remember that MWAA is not covered in free tier, so make sure that you don't keep any of your infrastructure running for a long time. I'll keep a note on my spending too and let you know how much I ended up spending by the end of the series. I will also have like a link to resources which can help you setting budget alerts. Also make sure to destroy your environment as soon as you're done testing. A side note, if you ever make a mistake of forgetting to delete your environment, make sure you reach out to AWS support. I've always found them considerate for such mistakes and they can help you get a refund on the charge. I'm going to use a repository to keep all the code that I'm building for this course. You can find the link to that in the description below. Before developing anything, let's look first at the architecture of MWAA. If you look closely, the schedulers and the worker run in the VPC that we create and manage, whereas the metadatabase and the web server actually runs an AWS managed VPC, so we don't have direct access to that. If we want to access them, we have to do that through the VPC endpoints. For deploying an environment, we would need the following: a VPC, two subnets for the VPC, more than two are not required for Airflow, an S3 bucket, then an IAM role, Airflow environment itself. For this video, I'm going to keep the Airflow UI publicly accessible. Later on, we'll cover how to run it in a VPC so that it's private only in the organization and only accessible through a VPN on my machine, as well as configured AWS CLI. So if I run any AWS commands on my machine, let me try doing an AWS S3LS. Cool. So this one already has like a bucket which I had created for managing my Terraform state. I have it present on my AWS account, so that shows up over here. Now, for setting this Pulumi project up, let's do that now. Pulumi new, the template that we're going to use is called AWS Python, which is just like a basic Pulumi template. Then we are going to install that in chapter 3 directory. So doing that now. This asks me what the project name is going to be. Chapter 3, that looks good. Project description, stack name, it's going to select dev. Going to keep with the default. Not entering anything as a passphrase. Keeping, I'm going to use pip. Then going to use US East 1 as my default region. And after entering, Pulumi sets all the necessary dependencies up for me. It's also going to create a new folder called chapter 3 for me. So I'm going to pause this video and I'll continue back after this installation is done. It's required for setting up our MWAA environment. Now, running the Pulumi command actually set up some boilerplate for us. It's going to include like creating a bucket that we don't require, so I'm just going to get rid of it. So the first step that we would need is setting up the VPC and the subnets. So I'm going to add that code over here. The first like line 6 to 9, we are just creating a VPC. Then the other two ones are creating two public subnets. For this video, I'm going to just like create public subnets and not worry about creating private subnets. Now the third thing that we would require is a bucket. Now this bucket is going to be for storing all our DAGs as well as all the requirement files that we are going to use. Role. So let's start by adding that. I'm copying over the IAM role from a different doc that I have. So this is the IAM execution role that it's going to create. The trust policy that it would have is Airflow Amazon AWS.com. And just so that like this execution role can actually read from S3 buckets, I'm going to assign it a policy for like just giving full access to S3. Now that we have the IAM role, let's go ahead and create the MWAA environment itself. Pasting it over here. Now the Airflow version for what I've pasted, that's pretty old. I'm going to update that to be 2.10.1, keeping the environment class to be small just to save as much money as I can. Now, looking at the network configuration, this actually looks wrong. Let me see what I have. I have public subnet 1 and 3. Okay, seems there was a copy paste mistake on my end. Going to update that. So this is going to be public subnet 1 and public subnet 2. Now, one thing which we are missing seems like we don't have like a security group. Let's create that as well. Let me create that along with the other network resources that I've created. Okay, going to copy that over. The security group configuration close to the other network configuration that I have. We go adding the security group. We actually don't want to allow SSH to like for our MWA environment. I'm going to remove that. And then I'm coming down back to the environment and I'm going to update this. It's just security group. Cool, that looks good. Seems I have to like set up tooling for my Pulumi stuff. Nice. Now that I have everything up and running, I'm going to try and do a Pulumi up. My bad. I have to first go to chapter 3 and then do that. Okay, my passphrase is empty, so I'm just going to do that. Okay, I'm going to be editing this so that like, instead of waiting for the whole thing to download, I'm just going to like forward to the end. Pulumi up command, and right now, like what it's giving me an error in my code. I don't have like any Python IntelliJ set up on my Vim right now. So what I'm going to do for this chapter is I'm going to use Visual Studio Code for writing code, just so that I don't make less mistakes. Okay, so it seems like I am importing like only S3 package from AWS, but I'm using much more than just S3. So what I'm going to do is instead, I'm just going to import the Pulumi AWS package as AWS. Now this should solve all my issues. Let me go to the code again. It does seem like that's going well. Okay, let me try again and see what we get. Nice. Now we can see that it started creating. Now this is going to take a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video and I'll resume once this environment is created, and I'll let you know how long did it take. Minutes. This program ran into an error again. Cool, let's look at the error. It seems that it's telling me that the MWA variable is not defined. Let's take a look at that in the code. Okay, up, here we go. That seems that the error is right. It's also complaining about this one. Okay, let me just do like a copy paste to avoid any more typos. Okay, it's actually just bucket instead of MWA bucket. Cool, here we go. Running Pulumi up again. I don't have any passphrase. Cool, nice. It's going to create 9 resources. Yes, that's what I want. Okay, it started, it created most of the stuff. VPC, it's still creating. Just look, like thinking about Pulumi itself, I really like the way it gives errors as well as the status that it's showing me. Okay, so the error that it's saying is about EC2 subnet. It says that the parameter group of the availability zone is invalid. Cool. So the okay, why is that? The reason that happened is because while creating the project, I had set the default US region to be US East 1, whereas I'm trying to create subnets in US West 2A. So what I'm going to do is change this to US East 1A and US East 1B. Cool. Let's try it again. No passphrase. Cool. It's trying to create 2 subnets and the environment. Nice. Let's see. Hopefully, would, subnets would be created now. After they are done, I'll actually pause the video because I'm sure like MWA environment takes a long time to create. Long, I think it takes like around 20 to 30 minutes to create. Nice. So the subnets are created now. It's just waiting on the environment. I'll post or I guess like when I start recording again, you would see what time, like how much time did it take. So okay, I'll go ahead and pause the video now and come back later. Creation of the Airflow environment failed again in a couple of minutes. So the reason it failed now, it's showing me an error saying that the subnets must be private. I made a mistake of creating prior like public subnets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the public subnets to be private. So for that, I'm just going to refactor this to be private. Then now that I have changed those subnets, I think I had added them in Airflow as well. Let me change them there too. Private subnet 1 and private subnet 2. Awesome. Let's run it again. Whoops, that's not what I want. Pulumi up. No passphrase. Now it's going to preview my update. Okay, now it's complaining about EC2 subnet. Nice. This is something that Terraform does not have. Seems like it's automatically letting me know that I'm trying to create a public subnet instead of private. Cool. So it's going to delete my public subnets and end up creating private subnets for me. And now it's complaining that it conflicts. Hmm, that's weird. I would imagine that it would first delete the subnets before creating them. Okay, seems it doesn't. So what I'm going to do is just update the CIDRs in here for, and this should fix the CIDRs issue. Yes, that's really weird. This is something that Terraform handles well. I guess this is just me not knowing Pulumi well enough. I'm sure that I would be able to tell Pulumi in some way to delete the subnets before creating new ones. No worries. Okay. Now we are again just like waiting for the environment to create. Okay, I'm going to pause the video again and come back to let you know if there are any other errors that we ran into or if it succeeded this time. See you in a few. It seems like I made a mistake in the IAM role trust policy. So let's go ahead and fix that. So over here, right now it's just to a string. Instead, we'll just make an array code. I'm going to run Pulumi up again. Let's see what happens this time. It's, it's still, oh, it still hasn't deleted the submit. That's interesting. I'm going to invest some time in learning Pulumi better before I make the next video. Okay, it updated the policy. It's now creating the environment. I am going to pause the video again. Environment. It seems it took like around 50 minutes to create everything. So now what we are going to do is hop onto the AWS console and take a look at how the environment looks. So I can see the environment has been created. Now in the UI, I should be able to open the environments like the Airflow UI itself. And right now, like as you can see, there is no task that's that's up, as well as the scheduler is not running. So what we are going to do now is we are going to take a look at the logs to see why that happened, and then just add the tag itself. What's wrong with this code that we are running? So looking at the prerequisites, actually, like I had missed one security group. What the reason why we need to open 5432 is like the same security group gets attached to the Postgres metadata database as well, and we need Airflow to access that database, and hence we need to open this port. After applying this using Pulumi, I was able to get this up and running again. Now you can see that the error which I was getting earlier about the scheduler not running has gone, and everything seems to be up and running, and we should be good to just deploy our first DAG. txt. Now constraints, I'm not using uh, this version anymore, so I'm going to update that. Always make sure to update your constraints and your versions as well. That would make sure that your environment is always performing at its best, and you have all the security updates that your system needs. Cool. Now, going to paste the tag itself. Nice. Let's take, let's copy the name of the bucket first. So I'm going to do AWS S3 sync and then the name of the folder. So that's going to be airflow in our case. Maybe that's wrong. Yep, it is airflow. Just 3 sync airflow, then all the subfolders under airflow, and sync that over to the bucket. Okay, I think I need codes around this. Hmm. Okay, and I think S3 sync is not liking the awesome. So now both of the files have been created. Um, Airflow itself, like it does not automatically update the requirements file. If I noticed was I hadn't enabled versioning on the S3 bucket. So I went ahead and did that using this code. And now that the versioning is enabled on the bucket, I'm now able to see which version the requirement txt has. So I'm just going to copy that. And now using the update environment command for MWAA, I'm just going to update the update the requirements for that environment. To bring the to update the environment. So what I ended up doing was just delete everything to save some money. And today I just recreated the whole stack. It again took like around 55 minutes to complete bringing up the stack. After that, I followed the same steps and updated the environment. Now that the environment is available and Airflow UI is working, whoopsie, here we go, Airflow UI. Now that the environment is available and the Airflow UI is up and running, we'll continue with deploying our first DAG in the next video. So stay tuned for the next video, and feel free to like and subscribe. And thank you for watching this Rocky video. For next time, I'll have a better practice script. Though let me know in the comments below if anyone prefers seeing me making mistakes, as that can be a good way to learn as well. Please let me know your thoughts or feedback on the video in the comments below, and I'll address them. Happy airflowing, and I'll see you again next Wednesday.